Hello everyone. In this video we are going to talk about a 19th century Dutch painter Vincent van. He was born on 30th March 1853 in Netherlands, oldest surviving child of his parents. Vincent was named for his grandfather and a brother who was still born exactly a year before his birth. He would later have two more brothers and three sisters. His brother Theo, only 4 years younger, was one of his closest friends throughout his life. Vincent was interested in art from his childhood. As a young man, he became an art dealer. He soon became frustrated and resentful, however, and was fired, after which he struggled to find a vocation. He tried being a teacher, worked in a bookshop, attempted to become a pastor, and also spent some time as a missionary. In 1880, at the age of 27, Van Gogh attended art school after his brother Theo suggested that he try his hand at it. As Vincent Van became more serious about his drawing and painting, he continued to struggle in relationships with friends, family, and artists he worked with. He fell in love with his widowed cousin and proposed, but was forcefully rejected. He fought with his father. He began working with his second cousin, a successful artist, but they soon had a falling out, and the cousin stopped replying to Vincent letters. It was his brother Theo who lent Vincent the money to buy his first oil paints, which sparked a new period of productivity. Van Gogh began to produce hundreds of paintings, mostly dark and serious. By 1885, he began to attract interest from art dealers, but his work was so unlike the bright paintings of other Impressionists, and it did not sell. He then moved to Belgium, continued his study of art, enrolling in the Academy of Fine Arts there and spending time in museums. Due to both his unconventional painting style and his temper, Vincent fought with a teacher at the academy and soon moved to Paris to stay with his brother Theo. He stayed there for less than a year, however, as Theo found living with Vincent almost unbearable. But by 1887, Vincent moved out and the brothers were at peace again. Paris is where Vincent van Gogh began to add colors to his paintings, experimenting with Japanese style paintings and pointillism, but he did not stay there longer. In 88, feeling worn out and sick, he found to Arles in the south of France. This is where many of the most famous paintings were made. Once in Arles, he invited his friend French painter Paul Gauguin to stay with him. The two artists worked together for a short time, but their personalities clashed, causing quarrels. When Gauguin decided to leave, Vincent van threatened him with a razor, which he then used to cut off part of his own ear. He was diagnosed with mania and spent 2 weeks in hospital. Soon afterwards, he entered an asylum, where he spent the next years of his life. Despite his confinement, he continued to paint, creating some of his greatest work during this time. Near the beginning of 1890, Vincent van Gogh's painting began to attract more attention. His work was praised in a literary magazine and he was invited to participate in exhibitions. In May of that year, he left the asylum, moving to the outskirts of Paris to be close to Theo again. He seemed re-energized with fresh enthusiasm of his work. Sadly, it wouldn't last. On July 27, 1890, Van Gogh was shot, although it is most widely believed that he shot himself in an attempt to commit suicide. Some argue that he was hit accidentally by boys playing with a gun and he didn't want them to be punished. This would explain something he said on his deathbed: "Do not accuse anyone. It is I who wanted to kill myself." Rather by his own hands or another's, Vincent van Gogh died on July 19, 1890 at the age of 37. He left behind more than 2,000 complete artworks, including over 800 oil paintings. most of which were done in the last 2 years of his life. His unique style makes his work unmistakable. His experimentation with color and line helped push art in new directions, directly influencing the development of Expressionism. He did not live to see it, but today Vincent van Gogh is one of the most famous painters in the history. His painting that no one wanted to buy are now worth millions of dollars and include some of the most widely recognized paintings in the world. So this was a little life story of Vincent van Gogh. Thank you so much.
He was an interesting man.
He was a genius.
Paul Davis, News at 10.